All right, all right. We are live. Hello, 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 divas. So excited to be here with you guys this beautiful Thursday evening, July 23rd, I believe. I hope it's July 23rd, not 24th.
It is.
Okay, all right. Yes. This is what happens when we're, home and so forth. But yes, everyone, happy Thursday. It's almost the weekend. We are coming to you with another DEEVA Chat. So excited to be here with the lovely Miss Regina Buckley. Yes, one of our fabulous divas that is part of Women on the Rise. And so, as you guys know, we've been trying to put together these DEEVA Chats to provide you with really important information that can help you to meet your personal and professional goals. And so we've been coming together for these 45-minute chats as our divas come forward with some of their expertise. And so this evening, I have for you the diva who always talks about business credit, right? And so tonight, she's going to share all the ins and outs of why having and establishing business credit is so crucial to your success, right? Hey, Shannon, how are you? So excited to have everybody on with us. And just for like some housekeeping, you guys, if you have any questions at all during this chat, please make sure to leave your questions and comments in the chat box so we can make sure that we're answering those through the presentation this evening. So I am going to read Regina's bio here for all of you, for the few who may not know who Regina is, just the very few, okay? So Regina Garvin-Buckley is passionate about helping people and businesses reach and even surpass their financial goals. And she never wastes an opportunity to use her creativity in that realm. Her brilliant intuition and professional insight equips her to be a sound consultant, offering principles and well-validated techniques that produce amazing results. Regina is the founder and CEO of K.A.B Business Services LLC, a company dedicated to providing comprehensive bookkeeping, tax assistance, and business planning services for various organizations and individuals. With strong work ethics and honesty, Regina constantly demonstrates persistence and resourcefulness. She dedicates her services to finding and creating innovative solutions while encompassing an unwavering commitment towards development as a whole. Welcome, Regina.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, yes, yes. So excited to have this conversation. So we know of you to be like the business credit diva. Like that is all you. So talk to us. Tell us why it was so important to have this conversation this evening to discuss business credit.
Well, one of the main reasons that it's important to discuss business credit is because a lot of people don't know anything about it.
Yeah.
90% of business owners have never heard of business credit, and I was one of them. The
Mm.
only reason I was able to hear about business credit after being in business for 9 years was because I applied for SBA loan back when one of the hurricanes came through and knocked out the power in my office and my clients' offices. So the cash flow was kind of tight. So of course I applied for this SBA loan and it was like, your personal credit is good, but you have no business credit. And when I was told that, I was devastated because I was depending on this money to kind of help me get over, the cash flow struggles of having to close my business. And now with COVID, with, businesses having to close down when someone, tests positive and we don't know how long this is going to last, we definitely need a different avenue. Like if something happens to our business where we have money to fall back on. And not only that, but where we are actually not using our personal credit to fund the business, because if something happens to our business and it closed down, you still are personally responsible for that business debt, even though the business is no longer available or no longer making money. When you build business credit, everything is based on the business's ability to pay, which
Right.
also the debt is also attached to the employer ID number, not your social security number. So nothing is actually reported on your personal credit. Another thing that business owners do is that I myself, when I started my business, I took out a home equity line of credit to get the business up and going. Okay. So now you're paying on that debt for 30 years, when you can actually build your business credit and have access to capital to grow your business without having to do that. And another thing is, most business owners, when something happens in our business, we got to buy inventory, you got to buy anything. We go and we max out our credit cards to make sure that happens. And when that happens, our credit it drops, or the scores decrease because of our utilization has gone up. So when you build business credit, you no longer have to worry about, oh, I can't buy my house because my debt ratio is so high, because everything that I needed for my business, I actually purchased with my personal credit card. So it's time to actually separate the two.
Gotcha. So you're saying that when we go open up that business account for our business and they offer a credit card, we need to take that credit card?
Well, not necessarily, because it depends on how that credit card is going to be attached to you. So if you establish business credit, there is a way to get that credit card where you don't even have to be a personal guarantee or a co-signer. But if you don't build business credit, you can still get a business credit card, but then you have to be a co-signer because your business don't have credit. So it's kind of in the same mind frame of when you turn 18, was you able to just go out to the car lot and purchase a car that you wanted without your mom or dad having to co-sign for you? Well, it's the same thing in business credit. You have to establish that credit so that in the future, you will not have to be attached to anyone else or have to go to anyone else to co-sign for you to get any loans or funding.
Okay, so let's talk about this. So, especially with COVID-19, you had a lot of people who were furloughed or, found themselves losing their job altogether, right? Or they had some extra time to really invest in putting together a business plan. So you have all these new businesses that are popping up, right? And they're like, how do I get capital? Explain that, run that by me again. So first off, as far as businesses and how they decide to incorporate themselves or file, is this of what we're talking about? Is this for sole proprietors, LLCs, corporations like our S Corp, C Corps? Who is this for that we're talking about right now?
This is for any entity that is not a sole proprietorship.
So any entity. Okay, go ahead.
So if you are a sole proprietor, you cannot build business credit, because when you're a sole proprietor, you're technically using your social security number because everything is attached to you personally. It's not until you actually create a corporation, whether it's an LLC, incorporation, whatever it may be, you can build business credit using the EIN number rather than your social.
Okay, another thing. Can a nonprofit organization like a 501c3, can they fall under this as well too to build business credit?
Yes, ma'am, they can.
Okay. All right. We're getting some places here. Okay. So nonprofits can establish business credit. Okay. So, right. Let's say you're a new business and you're wanting to go ahead and get credit established, right, to build business credit. What would be the first tip that you would give them, or the first step in order to do that?
Well, the first step is building your business foundation, making sure your business looks credible in the eyes of the lenders and the creditors. And how do you do that? Is basically you have to make sure that you look like a Fortune 500 company, not just a one-man show. So you have to think of in the mind of Target and Walmart. When you Google Target or Walmart and look up their corporate office, you don't see a corporate office with a home address. You see an actual business address. You don't see the owner of the company answering their cell phones for business. They actually have a landline number or commercial phone line. When you do business with them via email, you're not doing a Gmail or AOL account. You're actually conversing with them with a corporate email address. So basically, you have to build your foundation to make sure that your business looks credible. Like it doesn't look like someone just started a business and they're working from out of their garage or they're working out from out of their bedroom. You have to actually look like a real legit business. So you have to make sure that you have a physical business address. So if you are working from home, that's fine. You just need to make sure that you get a virtual address or do a co-work space or something like that to actually have a commercial physical address. You need to have a phone number. So you can't use your cell phone. You can't use your residential phone number. You have to actually have an address that can be listed with 411. And you can use voice over IP services like Ring Central, Vonage, Grasshopper. Any of those are great.
Okay.
But the number just needs to be able to be listed with 411.
Listed with 411. Okay.
You also want to make sure that you have a corporate email address. So you want to have a domain address that, so it wouldn't be, say hotgirl@AOL.com. It will be
not
hotgirl@bookkeeping.com,
Okay.
So,
right. Like, hotgirlsummer.com. Yes. Gotcha, boo. Okay, let me ask a question as well, too. Okay, so you talked about the landline and making sure that you use, like, if you don't have that, if you don't have maybe a brick and mortar and not having a landline, you might be still working from home, but that's okay, right? If you have a home-based business, but you definitely want to make sure you have either a business phone line through your local provider, or you want to be using one of these voiceover services. And I think you listed a few different ones like Grasshopper and so forth a moment ago. In addition to that, when we're talking about the address for that business, you mentioned that a person should not be using their home address, right? I ask, somebody said, LOL, hot girl. I ask because I remember doing the Duns Bradstreet number, right? It was, or the Duns number, should I say. It was asking for an address to be used, and it could not be one of the mail postal services. Like, it could not be like a Going Postal or a UPS postal center. So what would you suggest that businesses do? Because they did flag that.
Well, there's companies that's like DaVinci.com, Regis.com. They are what's called virtual addresses. These are places that you can actually rent an office space and actually conduct business there. Like, you can meet your clients there. They have a receptionist. You can actually, even though you may not visit the location, you can actually still rent their address. So a lot of them charge maybe like $100 a month to be able to use their address as your business address. You just have to figure out which one is going to be best for you, and that's going to be able to use for Duns and Bradstreet, because they are going to do the research to find out what addresses that you're actually using. But the ones that we found that do not have a lot of problems is Regis.com.
Okay.
So another popular one is like a lot of places have what's now called co-work spaces. Yeah. So I know here in my area, we have a co-work space, and you have to become a member. And I think it's like $30 a month to be able to have your mail delivered there. You can also rent office space daily and stuff like that. So you can also look for co-working spaces, or you use a virtual office location.
For a virtual office location. And a little plug, one of our members, Maggie Gaines, actually has, I believe, that same service provided at her offices. So if you are in the Sanford area, definitely check out Maggie Gaines, because she would be able to help you with that particular service. So just a little member plug, little diva plug. Want to put that out there. Absolutely. Okay, so we have the Gmail situation as well too. You're just reminding everybody to use their domains. I actually had some conversations with some new business owners about this recently. If you guys are interested in buying a domain email address, you can go through platforms like GoDaddy to purchase this. If you have a Wix website, or you can just go straight through Gmail and purchase a hosted domain email address. So anything else that you want to say in regards to that as well?
No, that's all in regards to that. You also need to have a website.
And a website.
So now, I know a lot of people use Facebook and Instagram
yes.
as a website, but no, you actually need to have an actual website.
Right.
You never use it, but that is where you're going to have all the information about yourself, your business, yes. who you help, so that when these companies actually go and research your business, they're not going on Google to find out who your company is. They right. go directly to your website and find all the information that they need.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Asha says she purchased hers through Google. And let me tell you, Asha, applause to you, because my silly self went through Wix.com and purchased my Gmail email, not my Gmail, but my domain email address. And I could not figure out why I could not get a Google Voice number. Turns out that Wix owns my email address, even though it's hosted by Google, right? I purchased it through Wix. So I cannot go now to directly to Google and go and try to purchase or do the Google Voice because Wix owns it.
Wow.
And I could not figure that out for the longest. And that's the problem. So I had to go through a whole different service to try to go and get the phone service because I could not do it through Google Voice. They would not allow me to under our account. So interesting how that works. So good for you to purchase it directly through Google, and you have more controlling over the price because Wix, they increase every single year, and they increase significantly more than Google does in charging for your hosted email. So little piece of advice there. And Asha says, yes, girl, that is how they get people. Absolutely. So we got to help each other. We got to stick together and let each other know all of these insider tips. So perfect. All right, let's continue on. Okay, so we're talking about all the different things that you need to have in place to be considered as a credible business. Okay, let's add on to that.
All right. So the next thing that you definitely will want to have is you want to make sure that your information is updated across the board. So we're talking about your Secretary of State needs to match what's on your bank account. Your bank account needs to match what's on your occupational license. Your professional licenses need to match exactly what Secretary of State have, your IRS.gov. All of that need to match exactly the way that is listed on your Secretary of State. And the reason you want to do that is because when you are using different business names, it actually looks as if your business is fraudulent or is not the actual correct business. So therefore, they will actually deny your loan applications if it is not matching across the board. So you want to make sure you're doing that as well.
Very good. So you guys, you know how every time I get on here to do one of these calls, the kids do something. And when I say kids, it doesn't mean I have two kids, but I have a little brother. And I have my son. So apparently they decided to make popcorn and put the popcorn on for too long. So I'm like, what is that burning smell coming in here? Oh my goodness.
Isn't that the worst smell ever?
It is so horrible. Yeah, so I just told him to open up all the doors, turn on the vent, but it is coming through. And so yeah, that's the nature of the game. But at least there was not grease on the stove, because we have definitely had that situation happen to another family member where my little cousin, he went and put a pot of grease to cook some French fries on the stove and went to go play a video game and forgot about it, and the whole kitchen burned down. So
oh my gosh.
So that's the scary part about having kids in the kitchen, but we're gonna make it. We're gonna make it. Okay. So let's continue on. So we're talking about all of the credibility things that we need in place in order to start to build our business credit. So these are things that can all be done initially as you're starting your business, right?
Mm-hmm. This is the foundation.
As the foundation. Okay. Is it still too early at this point for a business to think they can go and automatically go and get a line of credit for their business?
No, it's not too early at all.
Okay.
Whenever you start, you just want to make sure that you start in the right tier, because you don't want to be, like I said in the beginning, you don't want to be new to building business credit and go try to apply for an American Express card, because you're going to get denied, or they're going to ask you to be a personal guarantee. Okay. So the first step after you've gotten your business credible, then you want to add starter vendor accounts. And basically what starter vendor accounts is are accounts that's given to that is credit lines is given to you from vendors. So like, say for instance, Uline is a shipping supply company. They are one of the top people that will actually give you a line of credit without having any cash flow, any collateral, or any payment history. So you can go to uline.com, order some boxes or something that you can use or gift to someone. You need to make a $50 purchase. And once you make that $50 purchase, the next time you purchase from them, you can request that they actually send you an invoice. And when they send you an invoice, they will give you 30 days to make that payment.
Okay.
So that's how you actually start adding things to your account. So just like when we're dealing with our personal credit, you get a secure credit card. So we actually put our money on the card and we start using it so that they pull reports to our credit report. That is kind of like the same thing that you're doing with the vendor trade lines.
What are some other companies as well, too, that we can get that established with?
The top three that I will recommend is uline.com, Granger.com, and Quill.com.
What is Quill? What do they provide?
Quill is an office supply store.
Office supplies. Okay.
And Granger is actually a small tools and equipment store. However, you can find so much stuff on Granger online. I actually had a client that was like, "Hey, I found something. They have feminine products."
So interesting enough, I'm a former Granger sales rep. So they have like over 5 million products. I mean, it's crazy how many things that they actually have. But you literally, I think I guess it's not that funny, but one of the things I used to tell people that we have everything, including caskets. So Granger has
right now
everything that you can think of, they have. Yes, absolutely. So definitely some great companies for us to go ahead and start an account with. And then also thinking about a lot of businesses that might be product based, even with Uline. There's a lot of packaging items, right, that you can get from there. So things that you might not even think about that you could be able to utilize for your business. Definitely a way to go. And then sometimes if you're working with a sales rep, even if you are a small business, if you're working with a sales rep with any of those companies, sometimes they can help you to get an even greater line of credit, because I actually was able to work that for some of my clients. So something to think about as well, too. So very cool. Okay. So that's the next thing, right? What would be the next step that you would provide for us?
Well, that is pretty much
okay.
You need a DUNS number. I think
DUNS number. Okay. Yes.
So a lot of times when I'm going in Facebook groups and they're like, I need to build business credit. How do I build business credit? And everyone says, get a DUNS number. But DUNS number is actually it's like a credit bureau. They actually just collect your information and they house the information to come up with what your business credit score is. That is not how you build business credit. But your DUNS number is your business identifier. So because you're doing business with other companies that's not in your state. So, like if you go to sunbiz.org, if the name that you're wanting to name your company is not taken in Florida, you can use that name for your business. However, that does not mean that there's another business in Texas that does not have that same name. So that's why you get a DUNS number, because it identifies what business that number belongs to.
Okay. Makes sense. Now let's talk about something else here as well, too. So when, for example, in our real lives, or in our personal lives, should I say, outside of our business, when we talk about credit and credit cards, there's a lot of people who get scared, like, oh, I don't do credit. Like, I don't like to have a credit card. And so sometimes people might tie the two together, like a credit card and business credit, right? They don't want to get themselves in any kind of financial bind or be in a position of something that they can't afford, right? So who does it make sense? Like what type of business, or how should I say it? Where should a person be in their business growth and business plan to start trying to get lines of credit? And even if they get lines of credit for their business, should they be using it? Should they just be putting it aside? Like how do you suggest they use and leverage that?
Well, I definitely feel that you should not be using credit that you cannot afford to pay back. So if your business is not making money, you really don't want to go out and get a $80,000 credit card and max it out. You want to make sure that you will be able to afford the payments, number one. But then you also have to be smart and use business credit as leverage, not using it to get into debt. So what I mean by that is you don't want to go out and get a credit card and not have a way to fund that card back. So let me just give you an example. Let's just say, for instance, if you're running a promo for your business and you get a Dell credit card, you can actually use that Dell credit card. So say, for instance, I'm going to sell a course and I'm going to say, if you sign up for my course is going to be, for me, I just want to earn $1,500, but I'm going to sell it for $1,900. I'm going to include a laptop. So I'm using my business credit to purchase that laptop, but I'm going to be repaid for that laptop because I'm going to add on the cost of the laptop to the cost of my course. So when that person becomes a client, I'm going to order and send them a laptop. But then when that money comes into my business, I'm going to pay that laptop off with Dell. So you want to make sure that you have a way that you're going to actually monetize the purchases that you use on your business credit.
Makes a lot of sense. Okay, so that also comes into play. Let's talk a little business here. As a person is developing their business growth plan, right? What percentage of money should they be? And also let's talk about that too. If a person's taking a business loan and they're getting business credit, are those considered as two different things, or is that pretty similar?
It's similar.
Okay. So what would be your advice as an accountant for if a person were to take a small business loan or to get a line of business credit, how they should put together their business plan to make sure, outside of adding it into a cost, because let's say their business provides services that are maybe only like $100, right? And so if they're buying a laptop for their business, it may not make sense to put that laptop on that particular service. So for someone who has smaller cost services, how would you say they're to be budgeting for having a small business loan or having a line of credit?
Well, that's where knowing your numbers is going to come into play.
Yes.
So if you don't know how much money you're earning, then you really don't know how you're not going to know what you need to do in order to leverage your business credit. So you need to make sure that your financials are updated every single month. But I will recommend that if you have a smaller price point product, that you are actually going to say you're only going to use the money to purchase inventory, whatever that inventory is, but you're only going to purchase that you know you're going to be able to sell. You're not going to go out and buy 1,000 widgets when you know you really don't have the customers or the marketing tools to get people to buy 1,000 widgets.
Right.
So I would definitely say you need to be able to make very good business managerial decisions. And the only way you can do that is you know your numbers. So to answer that question is kind of hard because it all depends on the person that is actually leveraging the business credit as to how they're going to use it. So if you're going to be able to go out and purchase an item and market it and make the money back, that is how you're going to want to use the business credit. You don't want to go out and buy inventory that you don't know how you're going to get rid of.
Absolutely. And you know what? I did hear some pretty decent advice. Like, for example, let's say if a person has a skincare line or something, right? And they are telling people it's this amazing product and I'm going to now buy all of these bottles and buy all of the materials to manufacture this batch. And I'm going to put this all on my business credit card. And before you know it, they've racked up like $1,000 in expenses. And then they open the business up, or they start selling and they've only sold like 4 bottles. And it's like, how in the heck am I now going to make my money back, right? So one of the ideas is to just make samples, to get small batches of what you need to create your product, make samples, give those out and distribute it to people, and then go ahead and do a pre-sale for that product so that you can get that revenue in, and also see how this product is going to do. So then you can then decide how much of your raw materials you're going to buy, so it can make sense for you. So some things to think about, because I think we oftentimes get really excited when we get a business idea and get started. And so we start buying all this equipment and things that we need or think we need. And then we find ourselves in greater debt because we did not have the demand that we thought we did. So something to think about as well. Yeah. Okay, fantastic. Okay, so let's keep going. We got some good stuff going on. So as far as like clients that you've worked with in the past and you're teaching them all of this material, what do you find is often the most surprising to people, or like that aha, they can't believe that this is how it works?
How fast you can do it.
How fast?
How fast.
Okay.
And the fact The fact that you can actually build a business credit within 4 to 6 months, which is what I did. I actually purchased my vehicle and my business name without me being a personal guarantee within 5 months. Well, 4.5, 5 months of starting the process of building business credit. So it can be done very quickly, and you get access to more than what you would get access to under your personal credit. So SBA says with business credit, you get 10 times the amount that you would get under your personal credit.
Wow. Wow. Mm-hmm. Okay. Let me ask a question about the lease. Is it a lease that you're talking about for the vehicle?
When no, I doing it? Vehicle.
You purchased a vehicle through your business.
Mm-hmm.
And so is the vehicle financed through your business, or is it just paid out outright?
No, it's actually financed through Bank of America.
Okay.
My business name only.
Fantastic. So that's good information, because I had always heard of just it being leased, but you're saying no, you financed it, like so it's going to be clearly owned by your business once those payments are done.
Yes. And another thing, even now, because the business owns this vehicle, all of the maintenance, all of the insurance, all of the every expense that goes along with this business is a write-off to my business.
Okay, let's ask another question. We're getting the nitty-gritty now, honey, the nitty-gritty. Okay. So let's say we have some savvy business divas who might have started a side hustle business, right? Because according to research, we have probably, especially of women of color, there's a lot of women who are doing the sidepreneur thing, right? As opposed to having full-time, full-fledged businesses where there's no other income coming in, right? So let's say it's a side hustle. They're a sidepreneur, and they started this business to create some additional revenue through their passion. But they like this idea of having where their business owns their vehicle. Is that an ideal situation for a person to do that? Or does it need to be like a full-time business that has maybe a greater revenue?
If there is a need for a vehicle in your business, so if you're using your personal business, your personal vehicle for your business, mm-hmm. then you can get a vehicle in your business. It doesn't matter if you're working 50 hours a week or 100 hours a week. If you need a vehicle for your business, you can get a vehicle for your business under your business credit.
That's awesome. So I'm thinking about, like, even for example, you might have someone who does like events on the weekend. Let's say they're like a balloon designer, right? And so they're having to haul all these decorations to events every single weekend, or sometimes on weekend evenings. And for them, it's like, no, I need a Suburban, or I need an Expedition. I can't be doing like the little compact car when I have these events to do. So being that I need this big vehicle because of my business, even though I have another full-time job, I want my business to be the owner of this vehicle. That can be done.
That can be done.
But you need to have this business credit established in order to make that happen.
Exactly.
Good stuff. And so here we have a couple people have chimed in. Asha says, yes, this is something I heard and wanted to learn more about. Yay! Candy Bryan says, great conversation, ladies. Thank you for tuning in, Candy. I see Marceline said, wow, I didn't know this. I need like the mind blown emoji for this one. Absolutely. These are the things that we need to know, because there's some people that are privy to this information, and there's a lot of us who are not. So it's really important. And we thank you, Regina, for taking this time out to share this with the community. It's so, so important. And it'll help all of us to be more successful and make wiser choices when it comes to financial decisions on our businesses. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, so we now know how we're able to do that. But here's the thing, Regina. Oftentimes, we'll walk into the business and we're like, Regina told us this is what we can do, right? And then you have Jim, who's like, I don't know who told you that, but it don't work like that, right? Who do we need to speak to who would be wise enough to know, yes, I can purchase this under my business? And this goes for going to a car dealership. This goes for going to the cell phone place, because I know I've run into it at the cell phone place where they're like, well, no, man, we always have to get the guarantor information for a cell phone. And I'm like, I was told I did not have to give my social security number to make this happen. So can you share a little bit more information about that and some of the objections that we'll sometimes get, and how we need to navigate that process?
So one of the analogies that I tell people, let's just say when you're filling out an application for a mortgage, even though you have a boyfriend, it says co-borrower on the application. But just because you have a boyfriend that may live with you, do you put his information on the application when you're purchasing the house yourself?
Absolutely not.
And it's the same thing when you're applying for a vehicle. If you're buying this vehicle in your business name, you put the business's information on the application, and you do not put anything where it says co-borrower. If they say you have to, then that just means that your business does not have the established business credit it needs to purchase that vehicle on its own.
Okay. So that would be the only time that we would find ourselves having to do that.
Exactly. Now, if you don't put the information and they go run your business credit and your business credit is not good enough, they may come back and say, hey, we need your social security number, and it's up to you if you want to give it to them or not. But you do not have to give your social security number on any application when you're out there to get credit for your business and your business alone.
Okay. Good stuff. Let's run back for a second and let's talk about the nonprofits. Okay. So with nonprofit organizations, you'll oftentimes find, like, let's say if the nonprofit works with kids, right? And they may want to have, like, let's say the program director, they need to have a vehicle to be able to get these kids back and forth, right? Or they find that they're having to do a lot of meetings and going to these meetings, all in regards to the nonprofit. There's just like so many different places that this vehicle is needed, right? Can the nonprofit do the same and purchase a vehicle under its name?
Yes.
Or does it have to be tied to a program? As the
owner of the business, you determine what is necessary for your business to run. So not the IRS, not me, not anyone else. It depends on what you feel is necessary for your business to have. So if you feel like if you're using your personal vehicle, you're putting wear and tear and mileage on that vehicle, you can definitely get a business vehicle that you use to take those kids to where they need to go.
Now, have you ever heard, so with the nonprofit, of course, you have a board, right? And a board has to make the decisions when it comes to the nonprofit. There's not one single person that is able to make that kind of, or that level of a decision, right? So in that particular case, right, is based off of the income of that organization, is there something that can determine the cost of the vehicle that you can do? Like, let's say if you're a person, you're used to driving, let's say a Honda, right? Does the organization need to get a Honda over like a Kia? Or, I mean, they have to get a Kia over Honda. Like, is there that kind of?
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
That does not matter. It's just what the business can afford. You don't want to go out and get a Porsche when you only making Honda money. So
let me go ahead and run and go get that Porsche, honey. Pull it up to the local youth center with it, honey. Yes.
Yeah, so it depends on what the business can actually afford.
Okay. And so there's no ratio that the IRS uses to determine whether or not that makes sense. Because I'm wondering sometimes if there's some kind of scale. You're saying there's not.
There's no scale. As long as you can afford it.
Do you find that there's a lot of businesses that we probably don't think about that are doing this? I mean, you've shared with yourself. Do you bring this up to your clients that you're working with? Like, this is a way that you can make sure that this is going through your business so it doesn't affect your personal income?
I can say 99% of my clients never heard of business credit until I told them. So that is something that I tell everyone. And I have many lawn service companies, and everybody that purchase trucks or trailers, they all have it in their personal name. And the reason they have it in their personal name, because they didn't know they can put it in their business credit. So when they started their business, they went out and they actually purchased a vehicle in their personal name. And of course, with for tax purposes, you can only deduct the mileage on that vehicle. But if you have that vehicle purchased by your business, you can deduct everything pertaining to that vehicle. So yes, I tell everybody that I come in contact with, you need to stop using your personal credit. Stop doing it.
So that's good information too. So another thing that I'm thinking about then too, because I think some of the businesses that we were mentioning before outside of your own were all businesses that directly needed to have that vehicle for the service that they provided. So you just brought up landscaping. So they have to travel back and forth to that, right? And I brought up, shuttling kids back and forth, and even a person who has to go set up for events. So as a person who is a consultant, right? And they decide to get a business underneath their name. They don't necessarily have to have the vehicle to get from, to be able to use in the business, but it makes sense for them to have it. They are still eligible to do this, correct?
Yes, any business is eligible. And even if you're not particularly using the vehicle specifically for a service, like let's just say, for instance, if you travel a lot, you have to drive to the airport. So you're using that vehicle to go back and forth to the airport. Yes. If you have to go to Sam's and pick up products for your business, you need a vehicle for that.
Right.
If you need to, let's just say for liability purposes, you don't want to be driving your personal vehicle, you get in a car accident, and then now you're using a personal vehicle for business, and now that's going to get you in trouble with your insurance. So all of those things will allow you to be able to purchase a vehicle in your business name because of, one, the liability issues. Number two, you're going to need to go somewhere for your business. Even if it's to go to the bank to make a deposit, you need a vehicle. So it doesn't have to be necessary for that business.
Great information. DEEVA, I can't even begin to tell you how much this is going to bless people to be able to hear this conversation. And I know we're kind of getting to close to our wrap up here. We're in like that last 5 minutes, right? So I want to make sure that you can give us any last bits of advice or thoughts as we come to a close. And then I also want you to tell the group about your Facebook group that I know that you've created, and you share lots and lots of valuable information and other ways that people can get in contact with you to be able to utilize the services that you have been so gracious to provide.
The last tidbit that I would definitely say is that when you are building business credit, it is the only legal way that you can have 2 credit profiles. And everything that you can purchase or get credit for in your personal name, you can get credit for in your business name. So if you're a realtor, you can get loans to purchase houses. If you are, you're in commercial real estate, you can actually purchase commercial buildings with your business credit. There is no limit on what you can purchase. There's also alternative funding that you can have that a lot of business owners don't know about, that you can get access to when you have established business credit. So for instance, if you take credit cards in your business and you need an advance to hold you over to next week, you can actually get what's called a merchant account advance. And basically what they would do is take the average credit cards that you accept in your merchant account, and they will give you an advance based on that. And then when your credit cards hit your account, they will take money from that to repay your loan. So there's a lot of ways, creative ways that you can actually get funding. There's accounts receivables funding, there's equipment financing, there's all type of ways that you can get access to funding to grow your business or scale your business.
Fantastic. Thank you. Regina, please let everybody know where they can follow you at on Facebook to continue to get this wonderful information that you've provided us tonight.
Well, most of the information that I that I talk about business credit is going to be in my Facebook group. The name of my Facebook group is Dominate Your Business with Business Credit. You can find it by going to businesscredit.group. And the other way that you can find me or follow me on Facebook or Instagram is Regina Buckley 41 is my signal.
Perfect. So I've seen some posts here. There was someone who said such great information. Thank you. Shannon said great information, great questions. Asha said, glory to God for this. And Marceline said, thank you so much. Yes, yes. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And for anyone who is catching the replay of this, I hope you truly enjoyed everything. Make sure you follow Regina on her pages. DEEVA, once again, thank you so much for blessing us with this. Definitely appreciate this valuable information.
You're so welcome.
All right, everybody, y'all have a great evening, and we'll see you on the next go around. Bye, Regina.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Divas.